Hello, I'm Christopher Walker. Today we're looking at the Cambridge English Advanced exam and the speaking paper. So here's some information about the paper. There are some very important changes that have occurred in the speaking paper for the 2015 specification. It looks much like it did before. The changes are more little tweaks here and there. There are still 4 parts. You have the icebreaker at the beginning with some personal questions, the individual long term, a collaborative task to work with your partner on, and an extended discussion on the same topic. In total, you have about 15 minutes for the test, or a bit longer if you're in a group of 3. So let's have a look at the exam room first, and we're going to talk a little bit about the different examiners and what they do. So when you come into the room, you'll see a nice big table. There'll be somewhere for you to sit and for your partner, and across from you there will be somebody that we call the interlocutor, and across from them we have the assessor. So who is the interlocutor? Well, if you know any Latin, you'd know that the interlocutor is the person who asks the questions. They speak to you. They tell you to stop talking when your time's up, but don't worry if they do that. It's not because of you, it's because the time is simply up. They have to keep the exam running on time. And they'll give you 1 mark, which is for what we call global achievement. Now, the assessor, though, has a more interesting job. They don't say anything. They say hello, maybe goodbye at the end. They listen to you and your partner, and they grade your speaking. So let's look at the different areas that the assessor will consider. And for each one, I've got a few questions that I want you to think about for yourself. So they look at 5 areas in total, and in each area they give a mark out of 5. A mark of a 3, or what we call band 3, which would be then 60%, is a pass. That's what you should be aiming for at the minimum. But you don't have to pass each particular part to pass overall, and you don't of course have to pass the speaking paper to still pass the exam, although it helps. The first 2 areas are grammar and vocabulary, so they look at these separately. So really I'm asking, can you use the kind of grammar that's expected at the C1 level? And if you don't know what I mean by this, I mean have a look at an advanced level textbook, or have a look at the Common European Framework for Languages, and see what speakers at C1 level need to be able to do. When you're talking, do you make a lot of mistakes? And do people misunderstand you because of these mistakes? Also, are they low-level mistakes? Do you make mistakes with, for example, third person singular in present simple? And when it comes to vocabulary, do you use vocabulary that's not just connected to the topic, but that's really specific? And can you use expressions that are appropriate for what you're talking about? More importantly, can you talk with good specific vocabulary about topics that just aren't very familiar to you, perhaps, or that you wouldn't normally talk about on a daily basis? If you can say yes to these, and if you can explain why, it suggests that you're going to do quite well here. Next, they look at something called discourse management. Now, this sounds complicated, but it's a bit like the organisation part from the writing. Here we want to know, can you talk for more than a few sentences without hesitating a lot? Can you respond quickly when you're asked a question? When you hesitate, is it for a long time? And how does it make other people feel? Do they start to feel a bit uncomfortable around you because of these hesitations? Can you put what you say into some kind of order? Do you repeat yourself? That's not a good thing. But can you speak in paragraphs? And when you're speaking, do you link your ideas together? Or do you say one idea and move to the next with no kind of linking device? Can you do this with some sort of flexibility, so you use different expressions as you go through the exam? They also look at pronunciation. First of all, can the assessor and interlocutor understand what you're saying? And can you pronounce words so that the meaning is very clear, especially about word level or sentence level stress? Is your intonation appropriate? Can you pronounce a question? Or does everything you say sound like a statement? And can you go further? Can you use your pronunciation to really convey meaning? Can you use it to highlight the difference? For example, saying this one is this, but this one is this. The final area that they look at is what we call interactive communication. Can you show the interlocutor that you understand the questions that you're given? Can you respond in ways that show that you're answering the right question? Can you keep talking without needing support, without somebody to step in and guide you along the way? And can you include your partner in whatever you're discussing from parts 3 and parts 4? Can you link your ideas to what they say? And certainly for part 3, can you work with your partner towards achieving the task that you've been given? So let's have a look at some examples. The questions and the illustrations and all the materials are included in the PDF, the link for which is given in the description below the video. So I recommend that you download that first, and then we'll have a look at things together. Now for each of these exercises, of course, goes without saying, it's better if you have a partner to practice with, but if not, you could use the mirror, you could use your computer and record yourself with your webcam and then watch what you've done later. It's up to you. So for part 1, this helps you into the exam. It's a short part of the exam with some basic general questions, and it helps you relax a little bit maybe, and certainly it helps you start thinking in English. So you'll be asked a few questions. They aren't terribly difficult, but they do give you the chance to show how much grammar you know, and certainly vocabulary. And you can prepare for this a little bit. Spend some time thinking about your own hobbies and interests and ambitions in life, and think about the words you can use to describe these things. So here are some example questions for you to work through, either by yourself or with a partner. Okay, now we come to the individual long term, probably the most stressful part of the exam. So each candidate is given 3 pictures, but you only talk about 2 of these. And you're given a pair of questions. You have 1 minute to talk, and then your partner will have a short question about the same pictures, and then 30 seconds to speak. Now this 30 seconds might not seem long, but it's enough to get out 3 or 4 sentences, and you can boost your interactive communication skills here if you link what you say to what your partner has already said. Don't waste time in this part actually describing the photos, certainly not in the Cambridge Advanced exam. Everybody in the room can see the photos. We don't need to know what's in the photos because we can use our eyes. You have 2 questions. Concentrate on those instead. And here's a good chance to show off your talent with using modal verbs. Speculation, they might be doing this. It's possible they're doing that. And whatever you do, please don't make the basic mistake of saying on the first picture. So if you're not sure really what to do, you have 2 questions. For each one, say something relevant about the first picture, then say whereas, and then say something about the second picture. Do this for both questions and you will at least finish the task. Now there is no mark that is given for task completion. If you don't finish, it doesn't really matter a lot as long as what you said was heading in the right direction and showed a good level of English. So now use the materials that are in the PDF, choose your pictures, read the questions carefully and go through the task. If you've got a partner, get them to time you. In the exam, you can wear a watch if you want, but most people don't really have time to look at it, so it's much better if you have an idea of how long 60 seconds is. So your partner could tell you this, or you could put a clock in front of yourself and use that to help you measure the time. Concentrate most, of course, on what you're saying rather than on as the time goes by. Okay, and that brings us to part 3, which is what we call the collaborative task. Collaborative literally means working, labour, together, collaborative. So what should you do? Well, here we have the biggest change to the paper. So you're given a task, and you have about 2 minutes to talk with your partner about this task. You do, however, have a short time to prepare for the task. So, for example, your situation is you're talking about getting people involved in sport, and then you have 5 areas related to this to discuss. After the 2 minutes, you're stopped by the interlocutor, and then you have to make a decision. The interlocutor will give you the instructions for this at this time. You then have 1 more minute to talk. So 2 minutes isn't a long time. Say something about what's in the box, ask your partner's opinion, and then move on. And certainly don't waste time trying to decide anything in the first 2 minutes. That comes later. There are usually 5 text boxes for each of these, and my guideline is to try and get through 3 of them. If you can do 3, it suggests that you've covered quite a lot of the topic. Not all of it, but enough to have shown off your interactive communication skills. If you only talk about 1 of the boxes, you need to work a bit harder to get through more content, because then you're not really working towards the task enough. And when you ask your partner a question, or when you respond to them, try to sound natural. Saying, "I couldn't agree with you more," just never sounds natural. So try to think of different ways of saying. Even just going, shows that you understand your partner and that you agree with them. So that would be better. Okay, so now it's your turn. Have a look in the PDF and try this task out. And again, use the clock so that you can manage your timings. Okay, part 4, we come to what we call the extended discussion, and in this part they take the theme or the topic from the collaborative task, and it begins to expand outwards, going from specific to more abstract questions. So here you'll be talking for about 3 or 4 minutes about the questions that the interlocutor gives you. It's possible the interlocutor might ask first candidate A and then candidate B a question, or they might just wave their arms to suggest that you have to answer them together. Now this is the last part of the exam, but it's a big part. You have a lot of time to talk. By now you're really you've gotten used to using English in the exam, so keep switched on. Do as much as you can here just to prove to the examiners that you are a really good candidate. One good way of doing this is to report what your partner says and then expand on it. You could say, "As my partner said, bum bum bum, and what's more, bum bum bum." Okay, so try the task. You have the questions in the PDF. Again, work with your partner. See how long you can keep a conversation going for with each of these questions. Ignore the time limit. The interlocutor can take care of all of that. Just see how much you can say about these different things without repeating yourself and without becoming disorganized. Okay, so let's have a quick look at some general tips that will help you through this paper. Now, the exam will go quickly, very quickly, but it's worth 20% of your whole grade. So work really hard. And especially work hard to include your partner in parts 3 and 4. A lot of people ask me, well, what if I have a shy partner or somebody who doesn't want to talk? It doesn't matter. As long as you try to include them, you've done your part. And don't worry about the relative strength of your partner. If your partner's a lot better than you at English or a lot worse, it doesn't matter for you, because the examiners are trained very carefully so that they look at students individually and grade specific to that person. Before the test, go through your notes, go through your little dictionary of words that you've hopefully been constructing, and think about the words that you really want to get in to any kind of conversation, some really sophisticated words, and just think generally about other ways of saying "I think." Think of expressions like "the way I see it." Just adding this bit of variety will help you massively in the exam. And with that, good luck.